on to Guardcon Game 4. Game 4 is Sylvan Elves versus the Empire. Michael is playing the Empire. He normally plays Orcs and Goblins. Never managed to beat Michael in a game before, so been looking forward to this one. Perhaps a better opportunity with him playing a new army. So now having a quick look at the Sylvan Elf list. I know that most of you have probably seen the previous games, so I won't go into it for too much depth. You're welcome to pause the video and have a look at it in depth if you like. Biggest feature, no BSB. For Magic, I rolled up Scrying, Fate's Judgment, Stars Align, Look to the West, and Unerring Strike. So pretty happy again with the spells that I've got. Now if we take a look at the Empire list, and Michael has got a list that is fairly intimidating. He's got the Artificer to make his mortar more accurate. He's got the Martial BSB in general. He's got the Wizard with the Arcane Engine and Alchemy. While not as bad as Pyro, I do have the Tree Fathers that are vulnerable to Quicksilver Lash, for example. Molten Copper still does a really good number on me, so that is still a reasonable threat. In core, he's got 2 units of the Scoring Cavalry. These guys are quite a problem for me with their good armor save, although I think the Kestrels can probably take them. He's got a couple of heavy infantry units of 20, so they'll benefit from the support rule. He's got a handgun unit, pistol unit. The unit that really stands out here as a problem is that 38 Imperial Guard. Throw the characters in there and that is a very, very difficult unit to kill. 2 mortars and a volley gun. A little bit of a problem. That volley gun needs to be shot off the board as soon as possible. He's got his fast cavalry with pistols, and that's about it. So an interesting list to face up against, plenty of shooting. Alchemy promises to be quite a difficult game again, I would expect, but looking forward to this one, a chance to hopefully cross Michael off my list of opponents I've never beaten. So moving on to deployment. So I had chosen sides, and Michael was given the side with hopefully terrain that will be in his way for line of sight with that big hill there. He chose to deploy everything first and take first turn. So going from left to right, he has got a unit of his Scoring Core Cavalry. Then he has his fast cavalry with pistols, the volley gun in behind the hill, a curious option to put that there. Another unit of Scoring Cavalry in behind that, his first unit of infantry, followed by the Imperial Guard unit with the characters and the Wizard in behind that. And on the right hand side you can see he has his other unit of infantry, his skirmishing militia with pistols, his handgun unit with the Artificer and the 2 mortar. And you can also see I've selected there one of his scoring units to kill. The 3 that I chose were the handgun unit by the mortars, the infantry unit closest to the mortars, and then the cavalry scoring unit that is right across on the left hand side. So now looking at my deployment. So essentially I wanted to take that volley gun out of play. I hoped that I could probably rush it all in one go at some point with magic missiles and the Briar Maidens for shooting. So that is why the Briar Maiden unit is over this side. They can run up on near the hill and then go up onto the hill and shoot it. Hopefully at the same time I can have my Tree Father perhaps doing the same thing, and even get my matriarchs around that corner to magic missile it. So that's the game plan there. I only have 4 scoring units, so I figured that he would be picking at least 1 Dryad unit, so that's why they are way over in this corner, nice and safe. Arch unit there as well, so that again, if he wants to pick that unit, it's a long way from his mortar and shooting. On the other side of the board, trying to make use of that hill there, I've put 1 archer unit in behind there. Plan was to take out the mortar, but he's got so much stuff over there, it's going to be quite difficult. Also the tree father hiding behind the hill just to threaten anything that wants to come and hunt that archer unit. So not perhaps my most thoughtful deployment, but fairly happy overall that I've got the situation here where I can put some pressure on both flanks, shooting on the right, Briar Maidens and things pushing up on the left. So moving on to Vanguard, Michael vanguards his fast cavalry with their pistols up to the impassable there at the middle of the board. I start moving my kestrels around to the left, ideally hoping to put a little bit of pressure on him that I'm going to come down that left hand flank, although I do have to deal with that volley gun before I can do that. So moving on to Empire turn 1. So you can see on the right hand side there, Michael has moved his pistol unit up into the ruins, pushed forward with his infantry. The Imperial Guard have just kind of pivoted around, and that same lovely trick that I love to use with the kestrels has forced the other unit to turn to face them. So I love the way kestrels can use their movement to do those sort of fun and games. The scoring units of cavalry have just holding back to protect the volley gun, while the fast cavalry to shoot me. I think perhaps after Vanguard they were in range from memory. So yeah, he's coming to get me, but basically everything is out of range. There's nothing he can hurt me with this turn for magic or with shooting. So a very quick turn 1. In magic he got a 5-2 phase where he channeled, but because everything is out of range, there's not really much that he's able to do this turn. So moving on to Sylvan Elves turn 1. So I basically keep pushing forward. I have the Tree Father come forward to be able to shoot his fast cav. The Briar Maidens push forward to shoot the fast cav. The Kestrels just stay out of range of those volley gun, the volley gun, but are still in position there where if he comes forward with anything I can charge him. The Dryad units are just pushing forward on the left hand side, not really going to achieve anything, but they're just pushing up so that they can keep safe, keep away from him. I also want them up there that if my matriarch bunker takes too much damage, there's a backup place for them to go. The archers on the left hand side have just spun around so that they can start trying to just pick off anything that comes around by the impassable, while the matriarch unit is moving up to have the option to magic missile the fast cav, but also working towards getting in that forest where the kestrels are and being able to magic missile the volley gun. On the right hand side, I basically can't move forward. If I move forward, I'm going to get 2 mortar shooting me. I'm going to get that unit of pistols as well. So basically we just sit back behind the hill and bide our time. So moving on to Sylvan Elf magic phase, and we roll double 1s. Magic just continues to not be helpful at all in this tournament. So unfortunately we're unable to get anything off. In shooting though, we are able to hit his fast cav with all of the shooting we have got. There we managed to kill 4 of the fast cav, and they panic and they run. So that is a useful start to the game. He's now below a quarter, so he's highly unlikely to rally that unit. Pretty much just gave it to me really, which I'm quite happy to receive that gift. So that moves us on to the Empire turn 2. So in this turn the fast cav fail to rally, and everything else continues to push forward. So you can see on the left hand side he has moved his Imperial Guard right up by the impassable. One of the small units of infantry just continues to maneuver, protecting the flank there, while the other one pushes forward a little further in the center of the board. Their pistol unit come out of the ruins but still are unable to shoot anything, while the 2 scoring cavalry units stay behind to guard the mortar. So yeah, pretty nice start to the game really, where he's having to waste a lot of time maneuvering. Moving on to Magic, and the Empire roll up a 8-6 Magic phase. Again though, everything is pretty much out of range. He can't shoot me, he can't magic missile. He achieves nothing in turn 2 with range damage, so very happy that such a good shooting list is at turn 2, still inflicted no wounds. So moving on to Sylvan Elves turn 2. So at this point, we decide we're going to make a long charge onto the swordsman in the center, or the heavy infantry in the center of the board. Looking back, perhaps this wasn't a great idea. My thinking was we'd charge in, we'd break them, we'd overrun into the mage. But of course, that's a lot of infantry that is there. We're not going to break them in a turn, and we're not going to overrun into the mage, and then we will be stuck on the hill potentially on any overrun later on, which gives him an opportunity to shoot me. So looking back, I thought this was a great opening. Unfortunately, I'm not so sure in hindsight that it was, but anyway, we made that charge there. Everything else either remains hidden out of range or starts maneuvering around that impassable in the center, leaving his Imperial Guard nothing to charge in the next turn. So basically just playing a bit of cat and mouse still with everything else. So looking at Sylvan Elves Magic phase turn 2, and we roll up a 10-5 and we channel. Oh, I love it when the magic phases pay off. So with this magic phase, we put Stars Align onto the Briar Maiden unit, try and maximize the amount of damage that I get out of my Briar Maidens and Lord. Really don't want them fluffing their attacks and losing combat there. Also, of course, the Guiding Light in case we do. We also get off an Unerring Strike on the Electoral Cav that are closer. We kill 2 of those on a miscast. Unfortunately, the miscast also kills 4 Dryad skirmishers, but still an effective early magic phase. In shooting, we are able to shoot at and put a wound on the mage with our archers. Unfortunately, that's all the shooting that we really have available this turn. And in combat, we go first. We kill 8 of the heavy infantry and only lose 1 Briar Maiden. So unfortunately, we weren't able to kill all that many. He is steadfast and he holds. So yeah, looking back, probably not a smart decision to charge that unit. We'll see how it pans out. So moving on to Empire turn 3. Turn 3, he makes an unexpected charge. His 3 core cavalry charge into my Tree Father. Really don't know why he did that. That's not a fight they can win. The lone fast cav model fails to rally and runs off the table, while the militia pistols run up onto the hill to shoot my archers. The Imperial Guard and the mage continue to play that game of hide and seek, and they are moving around the impassable chasing after me. Again, happy to see that because he's not going to catch me. We're faster than him, we're fast cav, or we are light troops or single models. We can just maneuver further than he can, and we're all movement 5, so quite happy to keep playing that game there. Means that he's not hunting down that Tree Father and Archer unit in the corner, which of course is a scoring unit. So moving on to the Empire Magic phase. So he rolls up an 11-6 Magic phase. A very handy phase for him. Starts out with a Molten Copper on the Archers and kills 7 out of the 10. Managed to stop everything else going off, but that is a brutal spell on the Archers. We do manage though to pass our panic test and hold for a little longer, but 3 Archers aren't going to achieve much now in the rest of the game. In the shooting phase, the pistol militia that had moved up on to the hill shoot at my archer unit. and they kill off 3 archers, just 1 short for a panic test. So in combat, my Lord and Briar Maiden unit do much better in the next round. We managed to kill 9 swordsmen, in return just losing 2 Briar Maidens, and they fail their test and they run. But unfortunately they run through the other infantry unit, which panics and also runs. And in my pursue move I fail to catch the unit that I had destroyed. So unfortunately both units are running, and now I'm going to be sitting on a hill and I'm an easy target for shooting and other things. In the other combat, my Tree Father kills 2 of the core infantry, core cavalry. They do stick though, so we're going to have another round of combat there. So moving on to Sylvan Elves, turn 3. Firstly, I move a Dryad unit up into the forest, and move my Matriarchs in to join that unit. Lets me move my skirmishing unit backwards so they are a little bit safer. The Kestrels move so they are out of line of sight, while the 3 archers that survived the Molten Copper spell maneuver so that they are out of line of sight and range of the Imperial Guard. On the right hand side, the Tree Father and the archers both move forward up onto the hill so that we can shoot back at the militia, and also starting to get out of line of sight and range of the Imperial Guard as well. The Briar Maiden unit, I made another mistake here, I think. I chose to charge the first unit that was fleeing, so they flee past the swordsman. I then redirect into that one. It also flees, but now my unit is sitting out in the middle of nowhere and able to be targeted. I think I probably should have moved back off the hill and thrown my poison javelins into the mage. So moving on to magic, we roll up a 7/6 magic phase. I try to get Fate's Judgment off on something, so that I'm able to give Guiding Light to the Kestrels, but unfortunately I fail to wound and he is able to stop all the rest of my spells. In shooting, the Tree Father and the Archer unit take out 4 militia with pistols, but unfortunately they don't break and run, while the Tree Father in combat kills off the last of the Electoral Cav. So moving on to the Empire, turn 4. So this turn is where we get a little bit of a swing. I made a couple of poor decisions in the previous turn. So the swordsman unit that are in the ruin rally and turn to face the Lord and the Briar Maidens. The Imperial Guard block and the mage turn around to come back towards the Tree Father and the Archer unit, and are looking to corner them and secure that secondary objective by killing the Archer unit. While the pistol militia just move forward right up into the face of my Archer unit so that the Tree Father is not able to charge them. So in magic he rolls up a 10/6 magic phase. Very nice timing for him. Through a combination of his magic and his shooting, which included several direct hits from the mortar, he is able to kill off 5 Briar Maidens and also inflict 2 wounds on my Lord. That was brutal. I knew it was coming and it was as bad as I expected. I think he shot with the volley gun, both mortar, the handguns. Yeah, very nasty. In his remaining shooting, his pistols managed to kill off 2 archers as well. So moving on to Sylvan Elves, turn 4. The archers drop back to continue to remain safe, that small group of 3, while the Kestrels turn around and come in to threaten a rear charge on the Imperial Guard. The Tree Father moves to chaff the Imperial Guard and to be able to shoot the mage, I wanted to give my archer unit hopefully one more turn of safety. The Briar Maiden and the Lord pass their march test and also run as far as they can away to be able to shoot the militia. Unfortunately though, they are still going to be in range and line of sight for the mortar. The matriarchs in the Dryad unit also move up so that they are in range to magic missile the volley gun. In Magic, we roll up an 8-6 Magic phase. We start off with a unerring strike, a great big one on the volley gun, and we managed to kill it outright. Was very impressed with that. We also managed to get our tree singing off and do 2 wounds to the mage and a couple to the Imperial Guard. And we're also able to kill the pistol units with our shooting from the Briar Maiden, the Lord and the Archer unit. So moving on to Empire turn 5. The Imperial Guard charge the Tree Father. They do lose a number of guys from dangerous terrain and the stand and shoot. While the mage now realizes being in the forest isn't such a good idea and moves out of the forest. In Magic, he rolls up a 3-2 Magic phase, isn't able to achieve a lot with that. Unfortunately though, in his shooting, his mortar get another direct hit. This time he kills the Lord, and he's also able to put a wound on the Briar Maiden champion. Yeah, really didn't think through the way I used my Briar Maidens and Lord through turn 2 and 3 there. That's a lot of points to give up. In combat, he manages to only inflict 1 wound on the Tree Father. I do kill a number of guys back, but he is steadfast and continues to fight for another round. So at this point we realise that my turn is going to be the last turn of the game. We're not going to get turn 6 in, so basically I try and kill the mage. I move the Tree Father and the Briar Maiden both in range to shoot it. We also get our archers in range to have a go at the mage as well. In Magic, we roll up a 9-6 Magic phase, and basically between Magic and shooting, we are able to take the last couple of wounds off the mage and pick up a few extra points there. In combat, the Tree Father and the Imperial Guard continue to slap each other. Neither inflicts many wounds, and we both hold, and that is the end of the game. So in the end, the result is a little bit closer than I had hoped. Had felt pretty good about this game, but I think I played the game a little bit poorly in the middle turns there. So end result is a 12-8 to the Sylvan Elves, but we did manage to win the secondary objective as I killed that lone electoral cav unit that charged my Tree Father early on as a scoring unit, and I managed to play hide and seek with my archers and dryad units, and he was not able to kill any of them. So I guess in the end, pretty happy with a 15-5 result. It keeps me in touch at the top of the table, and also first time I've managed to beat Michael in a game. So always nice to cross somebody off your list of people you have never beaten. I think unfortunately both of us made a number of mistakes in this game. But probably balanced out in the end, I guess, and was a fair result. So hope you've enjoyed watching this one. We've got one more game coming to you from Guardcon. My last game is against a guy named Basil, who's brought a rather nasty Vampire Covenant list that has been giving a number of people quite a difficult time. A list that is quite difficult to get points out of. I'm going to need to win that one and win it fairly big if I want to place at this tournament. So looking forward to bringing you that one. And again, as always, if you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe as well, and feel free to leave any comments in the comment section below. Always enjoy hearing your thoughts, and I do try and reply to each and every one of the comments that I do receive. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.